tying the knot is actually the euphemism for getting married, being married, and the first time a couple asked me to do a hand fasting in their wedding ceremony, I was super intimidated by it because not only do you have to say some things around this ritual, but you have to actually, there's some logistics. You have to take a ribbon and tie a knot, and how do you do it? I'm Mark Allen Grollo. I am a professional, full-time, booked-solid wedding officiant in Toronto, and it turns out when it comes to a hand fasting ceremony, I had nothing to worry about. Just did a little research, came up with something that worked, and now I want to talk about with you today how to do a hand fasting ritual in the wedding ceremony. It's super easy and it's a lot of fun. There's essentially 5 steps to doing the hand fasting ritual really well in the ceremony. I want to get to those. First of all, I want to talk about the origins of the hand fasting ceremony, because some people are like, is it a pagan thing or is it a Christian thing? And if that kind of thing matters to you, let's talk about the origins of hand fasting a little bit. I like to say that the hand fasting ceremony is about as pagan as the Christmas tree. And what I mean by that is, of course, the Christmas tree is something that is very much widely celebrated and pretty ubiquitous around Christmas time in Western culture. Well, it comes from the Celtic tradition. Hand fasting comes from the Celtic tradition. A lot of Christian traditions come from the Celtic tradition, which of course became Scotland, and we borrowed a lot of things 2,000 years ago. The earliest Christians borrowed a lot of traditions from the Celtic tradition and adopted them into Christianity. So is hand fasting some kind of weird, Wiccan, pagan, scary voodoo thing? I would argue absolutely not. It's a beautiful ritual. It celebrates the unity between two people coming together in marriage. It's really old and it's beautiful. So let's get to the 5 things we got to do to add a hand fasting ritual to the ceremony. And at the end of this video, I'll tell you how to get a full script to the hand fasting ceremony, so you don't even need to worry about the words that you say in the ceremony itself. The first thing we want to do is choose where we add the hand fasting ritual in the ceremony. Now, I like to add the hand fasting in a couple of different places, but they're pretty much in the similar area. I like to do it right before the vows so that their hands are fastened during the vows, and so they say the vows with their hand fastened. Or we do the vows in the kind of contemporary traditional way, and then we do the hand fasting so their hands are fastened during the kiss so they can slide out of it, and then we go sign the papers. So that's where I like to put it in the ceremony, for the vows or immediately after the vows. The second thing we got to do for a hand fasting ritual is to explain the tradition. So we do want to prepare some words that we say to the guests around the ritual. We don't want to just grab a ribbon, tie their hands, and everybody wonders what's going on. So of course, we prepare some words around explaining the ritual. And again, I'll tell you how to get your hands on some actual copy that you can use in your hand fasting ceremony at the end of this video. The third thing we want to do is to physically tie the knot. Take the ribbon and tie it around the couple's hands. This was the most intimidating part for me when I was starting out, because you have to physically tie the knot. How do you not do it without bumbling and all that? So as it turns out, there are 4 kind of very simple steps to actually tying the knot. So the first thing we want to do is ask the couple to be holding hands. Now, when I officiate a wedding, I ask the couple to hold both of each other's hands in front of me. So when it comes time to do the hand fasting, what I ask is that they relax the hands that are closest to me. Just let them fall by their sides, but keep holding the hands that are farthest from me. And so that's the first thing. Hold each other's hands, the hands that are farthest away from the officiant. The second thing we want to do is drape the ribbon over the hand. So I just take the ribbon from wherever it is, maybe on a table nearby, and then I just drape it over the hands that are being held by each other. Wow, that's an awkward way to say that. They're holding hands, drape the ribbon over top. The third thing we want to do now is say some words. So as they're holding hands, they have the ribbon just draped over their hands. We want to explain the ritual a little bit, say some words, and again, I'll give you a script at the end of this video. I'll tell you how to grab that. The fourth thing we want to do after we finish saying some words, and again, maybe we got to close our binder and put it on a stand or move it over to the side. We don't want to make a big thing about this, but it's best to be hands-free. So put your papers down, put your binder down. I encourage that you not speak during this part. I just say reflect on the things that I say, and now I will tie the knot. So with both hands, I reach over there, and then I loop the ribbon over end just a couple times, so it's looped over and wrapped around their hands, and then I tie it underneath. Tie a little bit of a knot under their hands, not on top, underneath. Here's the fourth part now of doing a hand fasting ritual really well. Number 4, when the couple's hands are fastened, now we want to pronounce a blessing or a prayer or an admonishment or lead the couple in their vows. So the couple's hands are fastened now, so we really want to lean into this symbolism, this powerful imagery that we've created. So this is a great time to lead them through their vows, say a prayer or a blessing over them. Or if we've already done those kinds of things, then maybe this is the part where we pronounce them married and they share their first kiss with their hands fastened. And the 5th important step or part to doing a hand fasting ritual really well is making sure they can get their hands untied or unfastened from each other as easily as possible and as unawkwardly as possible. So this is why if we still have to put the rings on and exchange the rings, that knot that we tie, we want them to be able to slip out of it without untying the knot, because that's the whole point of it, is the knot doesn't get undone. The knot symbolizes something that remains fastened forever. However, if possible, we do want them to be able to slip out of the ribbon to exchange their rings. If we've already done the ring exchange, then it's no problem. If we're moving over to the signing table, everybody kisses and cheers, then we can kind of do it discreetly and it's not a big deal. But make sure that they can get out of the knot, out of the wrapped up ribbon, as easily as possible, depending on the layout of your ceremony and when they need to get out of it. So a helpful little guide here is, yes, we want the knot to be really tight, but no, we do not want the ribbon to be really tightly wrapped around their hands. That's not the point. The point is not a tight ribbon, the point is a tight knot. So there you go. A hand fasting ritual is nothing to be intimidated by. In fact, it's a privilege, it's an honor, it's a beautiful thing to preside over one of the world's, the Western world's anyway, oldest wedding rituals going. And it's still going, and it's a wonderful thing. Now, as promised, I'll give you the full script to my own hand fasting ceremonies, a couple of options. Head down to the video description and you will see a link to a full blog post where you get all the scripting for my hand fasting ritual. If you haven't yet, make sure you grab my free ceremony guide, my ultimate guide to writing a 10-part wedding ceremony. That'll get you started no matter where you are on your journey. If this video was helpful, please like it, leave a comment. I'd love to hear in the comments, how do you do a hand fasting ceremony? Do you do something differently? What have you found? How does it go? Tell me about your hand fasting ritual in the wedding ceremony. Make sure you subscribe to this channel because on a regular basis, I am posting all the time a new video full of pointers and pro tips just like this about how to officiate a wedding. See you in the next one.